Hi, this is Greg Holch in New York City. Welcome to The First Few Pages. The First Few Pages is a reader's advisory program. The purpose of Reader's Advisory is to help you find books you might like to read. In this program, I will read you the first few pages of a book, and I hope this will inspire you to run out and borrow or buy a copy to read. This project has grown out of an assignment for a course in Reader's Advisory taught by Pauline Rothstein at the Palmer School of Library and Information Science. It was inspired in part by a presentation by Lois Moore of the New York Public Library. Today is June 22nd, 2011. Today's book is Brat Farrar. Brat Farrar is a mystery novel by Josephine Tey. It was written in 1950, at the end of the golden age of mystery novels, and is 286 pages long. This book was written for adults. However, it is commonly read by students in middle school. I have no connection with the author or the publisher. I bought this copy at a bookstore. The author, Josephine Tey, was born in Scotland in 1896. Her real name was Elizabeth Mackintosh, and she invented the pseudonym Josephine Tey by combining two family names. She is most famous now for her mystery novels, but she also wrote plays under the name Gordon Davio. Her play, Richard of Bordeaux, ran for 14 months in London and turned the young John Gielgud into a superstar. Her mystery novel, A Shilling for Candles, was turned into the movie Young and Innocent by Alfred Hitchcock. Brat Farrar was made into a TV miniseries broadcast on PBS in 1896 as part of the series Mystery. Josephine Tey died in 1952. "8 years ago, young Patrick Ashby disappeared mysteriously at age 13. He was presumed to be dead. He left behind a note, but no body. Now, at age 21, Patrick is about to return, arriving just before his twin brother Simon is to inherit the family estate. Since Patrick is 15 minutes older than his younger twin, the estate will go to him. But is it really Patrick? As the story opens, we are introduced to the Ashby family as they are eating lunch. The parents are dead, and the children have been raised by their Aunt Bee. You will notice in the dialogue Josephine Tey's background as a playwright. You will also begin to notice that mystery is not always her prime objective. Later, in chapter 3, she will give away a major secret of the story, and you will wonder how she will have any story left to tell. But don't worry, she is a master, and you are in good hands. Here are the first few pages of Brat Farrar. Chapter 1. "Aunt Bee," said Jane, breathing heavily into her soup, "was Noah a cleverer backroom boy than Ulysses, or was Ulysses a cleverer backroom boy than Noah?" "Don't eat out of the point of your spoon, Jane." "I can't mobilize the strings out of the side." "Ruth does." Jane looked across at the twin, negotiating the vermicelli with smug neatness. "She has a stronger suck than I have." "Aunt Bee has a face like a very expensive cat," Ruth said, eyeing her aunt sideways. Bee privately thought that this was a very good description, but wished that Ruth would not be quaint. No, but which was the cleverest, said Jane, who never departed from a path once her feet were on it. Cleverer, said Ruth. Was it Noah or Ulysses? Simon, which was it, do you think? Ulysses, said her brother, not looking up from his paper. It was so like Simon, Bee thought, to be reading the list of runners at Newmarket, peppering his soup, and listening to the conversation at one and the same time. Why, Simon, why Ulysses? He hadn't Noah's good Met service. Whereabouts was Firelight and the free handicap, do you remember? Oh, away down, Bee said. A coming of age is a little like a wedding, isn't it, Simon? This was Ruth. Better on the whole. Is it? You can stay and dance at your own wedding. You can stay and dance at your own coming of age, which you can't at your wedding. I shall stay and dance at my wedding. I wouldn't put it past you. Oh dear, thought Bee. I suppose there are families that have conversation at meals, but I don't know how they manage it. Perhaps I haven't been strict enough. She looked down the table at the three bent heads and Eleanor's still vacant place and wondered if she had done right by them. Would Bill and Nora be pleased with what she had made of their children? If by some miracle they could walk in now, young and fine-looking and gay as they had gone to their deaths, would they say, "Ah, yes, that is just how we pictured them, even to Jane's ragamuffin look"? Bee's eyes smiled as they rested on Jane. The twins were 9 going on 10 and identical. Identical, that is to say, in the technical sense. In spite of their physical resemblance, there was never any doubt as to which was Jane and which was Ruth. They had the same straight flaxen hair, the same small-boned face and pale skin, the same direct gaze with a challenge in it, but there the identity stopped. Jane was wearing rather grubby jodhpurs and a shapeless jersey festooned with pulled ends of wool. Her hair was pushed back without aid of mirror and held in the uncompromising clasp of a Kirby grip so old that it had reverted to its original steel color, as old hairpins do. She was slightly astigmatic, and, when in the presence of authority, was in the habit of wearing horn-rimmed spectacles. Normally, they lived in the hip pocket of her breeches, and they had been lain upon, leant upon, and sat upon so often that she lived in a permanent state of bankruptcy, breakages over the yearly allowance having to be paid for out of her money box. She rode to and fro to lessons at the rectory on Four-Poster, the old white pony, her short legs sticking out on either side like straws. Four-Poster had long ago become a conveyance rather than a ride, so it did not matter that his great barrel was as manageable as a feather bed and almost as wide. Ruth, on the other hand, wore a pink cotton frock as fresh as when she had set off on her bicycle that morning for the rectory. Her hands were clean and the nails unbroken. And somewhere she had found a pink ribbon and had tied the 2 side pieces of her hair in a bow on the top of her head. 8 years, Bee was thinking. 8 years of contriving, conserving, and planning, and in 6 weeks' time her stewardship would come to an end. In little more than a month, Simon would be 21 and would inherit his mother's fortune, and the lean years would be over. Those were the first few pages of Brat Farrar. Thank you for listening. Now, go read a book.